Wildfires in eastern Washington have killed at least 2 people and burned around 200 buildings since Friday. A 10,000-acre blaze called the Gray Fire is burning just 15 miles west of Spokane, where 1 person was killed. Another 10,000-acre fire north of Spokane, the Oregon Road Fire, is being blamed for the other death. The smoke from these fires is adding to the haze in the region that so many of us have experienced and saw over the weekend. In fact, I joined some colleagues here at KGW to climb Mount St. Helens, and we had a first-hand look at the smoke that rolled into our area. You can kind of see it down below us. It kind of looks like a nasty fog. We made it up and down without any trouble, but I got to say, I was coughing a bit Saturday night after we were done from the climb. Look at that. You can barely see Mount Hood way in the distance poking up through the smoke. That's our GM Steve there at the top. Matt Zaffino joins us now, our chief meteorologist. I know you've climbed St. Helens several times.
Love it.
Seems pretty clear this afternoon here in downtown, but the question is the smoke gone forever?
You know, it'd be tough to say forever until the fire season is over, depending on the winds. By the way, I love those pictures, especially with the top of Mount Adams and Mount Rainier poking out to the north. Normally, when I've climbed Mount St. Helens, you see that kind of a view, but it's clouds down below, not smoke. So I'm glad you were able to get rise above the smoke and had a good climb. Such a great climb, summer or winter. All right, speaking of mountains, let's go to one of our other iconic volcanoes, Mount Hood, and you can see the smoke still up around the Cascades right now. But this is better than it was even an hour ago. I'm running a time lapse on this. I'll have that for you on the late news tonight, so hopefully we'll be able to see the whole process of the smoke clearing off. It is cool, just 57 degrees up at 6,000 feet. The coast, though, is clear, some marine layer clouds well offshore there, and this is what's been taking over the west side of the state. As I'm sure you've noticed if you've been outside today, the air quality is way better now than it was yesterday or this morning. Here's a time lapse. That's all smoke receding on off to the east with southerly or southwesterly winds aloft, pushing those high clouds through. So again, we're doing way better than we did. And I think the whole week, Pat, we're going to have some pretty good air quality. So check it out. You can see the green dots here. That means the air quality index is all in the good category with the AQI below 50 for the metro area. Not the case everywhere in the state, though. It gets worse as you head south and east. And then over in eastern Oregon, it is unhealthy, it is hazardous, and very unhealthy through Sisters Bend and Prineville because of their proximity to the 2 big fires burning in the Willamette National Forest. Now, here's the smoke. Yeah,
I got a quick question for you. So when it's sitting down like that on cities and making it really nasty, I'm sure this is like a 3rd grade question, but why doesn't the smoke just go up into the atmosphere and get out of there? What holds it down like that?
Gravity, basically. I mean, smoke has weight. Those little particles are all, you know, they've got weight. And if there's nothing to mix the air and clear the smoke out, it will settle down in the valleys and basically stay there. So you get temperature inversions as well. If you have warm air above the smoke, then that's a very stable condition in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is very comfortable with warm air over cold air. So when that happens, it doesn't move. You need some kind of mechanism, either a cold front or some kind of mixing to move it on out. It was a great question, by the way, Pat. Not 3rd grade, well, not 3rd grade material at all, really. That was more like, you know,
4th.
Like Weather 101, if you will.
Thank you.
Good, yeah. So the smoke should continue to push on off to the east, and the Gores will clear. The western valley should stay clear tomorrow of smoke, but I am watching that batch off the coast. Now that's fairly thin, and I'm not even seeing it on the satellite imagery. It may be out there, it's just too thin, so there could be some high-level haze that moves on in during the day tomorrow. And this only runs through tomorrow, so again, this isn't a long-range smoke forecast, but I think in the long range, we're not going to have a day like we did yesterday, where it's just thick smoke blocking out the sun and making our eyes scratchy and our throats itchy and all of that kind of stuff. Now, the other thing we need to talk about, Pat, of course, is Hurricane Hilary, or the remains of Hurricane Hilary, right?
It's amazing. And you called this like a week ago. You said, watch out, eastern Oregon.
Yeah, you know, I was watching it before it even became a hurricane, and then it became a hurricane, Category 4 off the coast of Mexico. And the models really did quite well with this, tracking it up through eastern Oregon. I mean, the actual center of the circulation at one point this morning was over Oregon. Wow. And now it's just amazing. And now it pushed on off to the north. This has happened before. I remember hurricane and tropical storm, I should say, Ignacio, back in 1997 that produced rain in Southern California and in the Bay Area. It produced the rainiest August on record. It blew out a baseball game or two. They had accidents on I-80. But this one was stronger and hit Southern California. You know, they had almost a foot of rain in the mountains between LA and Palm Springs, which is why you're seeing the mud over there all over the place. So this green, that's the rain, the remains of Hilary. This is not. That's a separate system that's been off the coast of California, and yet we're still getting showers and thunderstorms in eastern Oregon from that. But the rain from Hilary, impressive. Harl Butte is in Wallowa County, 2.18 inches of rain. Owyhee Ridge is in Malheur County. Basque Hills in Harney County. This is just over the border from Oregon, along the Snake River in Idaho. Then McCall, Idaho, with over 2 inches of rain, too. So it really was an impressive event. And look at the gradient, or the difference from over an inch of rain in Baker to nothing in Pendleton, and very little up in the Blue Mountains, too, just a little too far north and a little too far west. So it was really focused on that eastern side of Oregon and then up into Idaho, now Montana. The good news is, Pat, the smoke is clearing. It pretty much has cleared out of the Willamette Valley. We've got more 90s on the way. No rain except for a few sprinkles in northwest Oregon around Astoria tomorrow morning. With those 90s, though, a little bit of a southerly flow later in the week. We may get some high-level haze like we had, last week when it was super hot. We're not going to get super hot, but we may get that haze back.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
You bet.